I'm Vicky, I'm an urban designer and a planner at URBED in Manchester. When I started thinking about the design of places through a gender lens, I immediately thought about public toilets, or the lack of them. I've been reading Invisible Women by Caroline Criado Perez, and in it she specifically talks about the decline in the number of public toilets in the UK. And women are affected by this in a few ways. We're more likely to need to change tampons, towels or cups if we're menstruating. We are more likely to have a baby pressing down on our bladders. And we're also more likely to be caregivers to children and older people who have their own toilet needs. Plus, it's much more complicated and less socially acceptable for us to duck into a side street and pee against a wall. Although I'm focusing on women here, this is an issue of basic human dignity. Increasing public toilets would obviously benefit children and older people, as I mentioned, but it would also help people with chronic diseases or disabilities who might need to go more frequently and change things like colostomy bags. It would also help anyone who can't afford to buy a flat white just to use the toilet, which is pretty counterintuitive if you think about it anyway. It's a good example of how making accommodations for a specific group can ultimately make places more accessible and more inclusive for everyone.
Hi, my name is Mandra, aka Coco. I'm a planning solicitor and a twin mum. My twins are now 13 months old and I spent most of last year on maternity leave going around Bristol walking with a double pram. This gave me a whole new perspective and it made me experience the city from a completely different angle. I would like to share a photo with you that I've taken on one of my walks. This photo shows some of the issues that are maybe not traditional planning issues, but are issues we have to deal with when considering a new scheme or also as part of the placemaking progress. This photo shows a very narrow pavement and on waste collection day. As you can see, the photo is taken from behind the pram and it's virtually impossible for me to get through because the cars are parked too close to the pavement, so I just can't really go around except going into the road with the pram, which is far from ideal. There are two aspects to this that I would like to discuss. The first one is the relevance of providing proper refuse storage, proper pavement widths, and also maybe to come up with different and alternative waste disposal solutions. For example, some cities in Spain have rubbish stations, so you have to walk maybe 50, 100 meters and you just have to take your rubbish there instead of having individual bins for every house. And I think that sometimes could be the best alternative. The second one is obviously understanding the challenges that come with planning for historic street patterns that predate the current modern mobility. I know it's obviously easier to plan for a proper refuse storage and pavement widths when you're dealing with a new development, and it's way more challenging, and there's a difficulty attached to planning for cities where the historic aspect of it is so intrinsic to the character and is the main thing we want to preserve. But that doesn't mean there is absolutely no way to deal with this. It just means that we have to think a bit harder and think outside the box. Bristol has many new developments in the pipeline. The neighbourhood with this photo was taken in particular because it's quite an up-and-coming area. So when discussing these new developments, there should be an open discussion of the impact these developments have, not only in their immediate frontage, but also in the wider area. And it should open the door to understand and secure pedestrian audits, to understand the quality of the roads and what contributions can be made and which solutions can be brought forward to deal with this. I hope this is helpful. And please leave many comments because I love to rant about bad streets. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Kirsty, a researcher and practitioner in architecture and urban design, with a particular focus at the moment on feminist urbanism. When I got asked to do this video, I had a bit of a sit down and a think about spaces, particularly in the UK, that are designed with a gendered lens, and thought it was important to maybe discuss the fact that none of the cities within the UK are really designed with a gender lens at the moment. This is partly because historically cities would have been designed by and for men, and most of the cities within the UK have a historic city centre at the very least, so spaces are inevitably going to be designed with men in mind rather than women. I think it's important as well to consider when you're looking at a gendered lens that spaces need to be designed not only for women but also for people of all gender, anyone with a disability, people of different cultures, etc, etc, and that is something that I think the UK struggles with at the moment. I'm based in Edinburgh, and I'm increasingly aware of the fact that spaces have not been designed to be wheelchair accessible within the city centre, which is very historic, and that a lot of the public parks and stuff are just really not gender aware. So in answer to the question of what cities do not design with a gender lens, I think the answer is all of the cities within the UK at the moment.